Hello, everyone, and welcome back to I'll Watch What They're Watching, where we're curious and adamant about cinema. I am one of your hosts. I'm Kiri.
And I'm Adam.
And today, last time we recorded, we talked about how the next episode, we were going to talk just kind of about queer cinema and LGBTQ plus stories through film and things like that. But then basically what happened was work got crazy for me. It was also my last week of a class, and Adam moved. So long story short, things got real crazy real quick. So we took the week off. So today we are
You're
going to be
nice,
doing.
but I was the one that canceled. So just to cut the record straight, you're very kind, you're very nice, but I said, I'm not recording because moving was crazy for me.
But you said, I'm not recording, and I said, God bless. What a relief. So
Sure.
let's be clear about that.
Fair, but yeah.
But we will talk a little bit about just a little bit about some LGBTQ film stuff, just to kind of bookend Pride Month. But then we'll do our typical June review, July preview. There's some stuff coming up in July. It's been a bit of a, I don't know. We'll get to this in a minute. But I've been a tiny bit disappointed with this summer, to be completely honest.
Okay, so tell me a little bit more about that.
Just I was looking at it and I was like, okay, the big ones that came out in June. Well, no, because sure, we can flip. We can do the review first. Big ones that came out in June. Master of the Universe.
Disappointing, yeah.
Right. Scary Movie 6. Not my cup of tea. Disclosure Day, which I liked, but has been getting rather lukewarm reviews, I feel like. Toy Story 5, which I'll talk about that in a minute. Supergirl, which got disappointing reviews. The Furious, which is the only thing that looks like I'm actually really, really gonna love. Death of Robin Hood, which we talked about, and I'm not... That doesn't seem to be doing amazing either. And then the new Jackass movie.
Right.
So, that's what we have in June.
Yeah, I think you're discounting, though. I think Backrooms and Obsession...
I am.
bled
100%.
Enough into June. I don't remember at what point this was. If this was... maybe it hasn't caught up. Maybe it was only through the end of May, but it was something like it was the most profitable year to date since 2019 or something like that, mostly with that. But I agree with you that I think many of the movies that we previewed, or many of the movies that, because we were like, oh my gosh, this is a crazy blockbuster, crazy June. And me and you both like Disclosure Day, but I don't disagree that I think... I kind of feel the same, and I was thinking about what movie, maybe it was just One Battle After Another, and I was just kind of thinking of man, what's the next movie going to be that I'm going to sit in the theater and have that same feeling of just totally being blown away. Now, I think there's an obvious one coming up that's going to do that. So I disagree, and I do agree with you at the same time, if that makes sense.
No, totally. And I guess kind of the reason I didn't bring up Backrooms and Obsession is because they, I guess technically they're summer blockbusters, but they didn't feel like it the same way Mandalorian and Grogu felt like it kicked it off. Maybe even Devil Wears Prada 2 kicked it off.
I forgot about Mandalorian and Grogu.
Right? That's what I guess, I don't know. That's kind of what I'm saying is just
I can't believe that movie came out recently now that we're talking about it. That's unbelievable. That's so funny.
And Masters of the Universe came out a few weeks ago, and it just, I don't know. I don't know what it is. This summer is just, and I wrote down 5 movies that are coming out in July that I felt were kind of big ones, and I'm literally only excited about one. I'm moderately excited about the second one.
Yeah, I'll always be there for Spider-Man.
That's the one I'm moderately excited about.
Yeah, I think it's one of those movies. I felt this way about whatever the last one's called, of it's a great experience when you watch it, and then you think about watching it again, you're like, no, doesn't There's no rewatchability there, but I had a good time the first time. That's kind of how I feel about these new Spider-Man movies.
And to be honest, like, not to bring this up again, I'm feeling a little bit that way about Disclosure Day. Like, I liked it. I'm not rushing to go see it again.
Yeah,
Whereas, like,
I don't know that I'll ever like really willingly revisit if I'm being honest either. And again, I liked it, so it is kind of a funny,
same. But,
yeah,
like, I just watched both E.T. and Raiders of the Lost Ark, and literally both of those, I'm like, I could watch it again. Like, if I
right.
was at someone's house and they were like, I'm really feeling Raiders, or like, I'm really feeling E.T., I would be like, yeah,
Yeah,
did I
exactly.
watch them 3 weeks ago? Yes. Do I care? No. Like,
Right.
I don't know. I don't know. It's just we can get into kind of July in a minute, because I had notes and now I've just completely chucked them out the window. But yeah, I don't know. I
Yeah,
just in general this summer I'm a little meh.
it's been an interesting year, and like I look at my list and it's like there's definitely some movies that I really like on here. Project Hail Mary, Is God Is, I Love Boosters, 28 Years Later, Bone
Yeah,
Temple, Sheep Detectives, even Goat. Those are all movies I've talked about on the podcast, and I'm like, yeah, I had a good time seeing those movies. But I look at, like, last year, and it's like, oh, by this time last year, I'd already seen Sinners and
Sinners.
The Life of Chuck and
Yeah,
Caught Stealing and, a couple of these other ones that I don't know why I threw Caught Stealing in there, but I enjoyed Caught Stealing. But anyways, yeah, it's always just an interesting thing how years ebb and flow. And obviously there's some really big ones that I'm excited for that we'll talk about, but just just an interesting reflection point. Maybe it's because I haven't watched a
yeah.
movie since Disclosure Day in 2.5 weeks because I'm moving. But yeah, I guess I'm itching to get back to like a really, really good one.
Yeah, I get that. I think I don't know, I might try to go see The Furious sometime soon because I feel like just in general, I've just been a little like, to be fair, and I'll talk about this. I liked Toy Story 5 a lot more than I expected to, but it has major problems, which I mean, yeah, we
Dive
can go
into
right
it.
into this. We
Yeah.
typically talk about, what we've seen. Toy Story, I went and saw Toy Story 5 last night, was really walked in being like, because I never actually finished Toy Story 4. I was too busy and had too much stuff going on, and I was like, I do want to see a theater movie before we record tomorrow. So I was like, let me go see Toy Story 5. Walked in being like, all right, here we go. The people next to me were talking through the entire like opening everything, and I was like, dude, shut up. I'm gonna lose it.
Yeah.
But I'm sitting there and I'm like, all right, let's start this dumb thing. Yeah, stupid movie made me cry. I would say this isn't too spoilery. There are some major problems with it in the sense that like just Toy Story 1, 2, and 3, like I said, is kind of this perfect trilogy. And this one, it's a little bit all over the place. The story isn't nearly as tight. It's not nearly as, contained. My biggest issue is honestly like the recurring issue I'm having with Disney. The trailers set it up like Lily Pad is your villain.
Mm-hmm.
She kind of is. And I know I don't normally use language like this on the podcast, but I feel like this is the only way I can get it across. I wanted Lily Pad to be an absolute bitch. Like, I wanted a Lotso hugging bear because, like, you meet Lotso, and when you learn that Lotso is bad in the third one, you hate him. Like, you never knew you could feel that much rage towards this tiny little pink bear. That's how I wanted to feel about Lily Pad. I wanted to hate this thing. I wanted her to be smug and obnoxious and outsmarting the toys. You don't really get that. The premise that it hits that I don't necessarily disagree with, but I don't know that it's good movie making, is the whole idea of like, look, toys and technology can coexist. Like, we still keep the magic of like kids having imagination through these toys, but like, there's some benefits to technology as well. Is kind of the thing, the point, the message they're trying to get at, which on the one hand I'm like, do we need a message? Can it just be a good movie? And like I wanted, like lily pad changes pretty quickly because like throughout the whole like first half, it's her being like, no, I'm trying to help Bonnie. I'm trying to help her make friends, blah, blah, blah. And then lily pad realizes that she screwed up, complete 180, and is like, yeah, I've teamed up with Jesse. Like it doesn't make a lot of sense, and I'm sitting there being like, I miss my mustache twirling villains.
Yeah,
Like go
I've
ahead.
listened to a few episodes of podcasts talking about it, and I've heard the same sentiment. Again, I haven't seen the movie, so I can't talk too much, but that same sentiment of just like not fully committing to that,
Yeah.
which again was my issue with Hoppers, right? It was a little bit
Yes.
too like wishy-washy about the message. I think what really gets me though, and I heard one podcast talk about it, but then I actually did see it on my phone, and that's that Disney is now selling lily pads. And so it does
Are
just
you
kind of feel,
kidding me?
it does feel a little icky
It does.
based on
Yeah,
some of the
agreed.
things it touches on. And then it's like, oh, now go buy this lily pad. And I've seen some jokes too of like,
Yeah.
how many, my nephew's going to love this movie and then go back home and play iPad or whatever. But yeah, so this is an
Yeah.
interesting topic, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. There again, I still liked it. Like the dumb thing is like I came out and I texted you and I think I texted like my movie friends and Sarah the same thing where I was like, I liked the stupid Toy Story movie, sue me. Like I did like it.
Now,
It has a
and I do think I don't think that's a bad thing, and I think there's enough. Basically, anyone that I have seen again to or listened to, or Allie and Oliver saw, and everyone's been like, "Yeah, I liked it." So I think it does
yeah,
have like at least some of that charm and that some humor. And
it's
Toy Story is always good.
yeah, it's very funny. I would say because you liked Toy Story, you and I both, we said our favorite is probably Toy Story 2. I think that's why you'll like it. It does kind of this full circle arc thing with Jessie, where Jessie is kind of your lead rather than Woody or
Okay,
Buzz.
very cool.
From a story perspective, I don't know necessarily that Jessie is a strong enough character to be the lead. On the other hand, I really like Jessie and I really like her arc up to this point. And so I liked that. Again, it made me, this stupid movie made me cry. I'm sitting there crying over this fictional toy. So yeah, I mean, I did like it. It's got some story problems. Again, I miss when Disney had really good villains because Disney has had some just legendary villains, and I just feel like lately it's been like, look, let's watch toys and technology work together, and like, I'm sorry, but I just don't care. And I think that's kind of the problem that I'm butting up against too with this movie.
No, that's a valid concern to have based on what you've liked in previous iterations. So.
Yeah. But I will say this, I finished my Nazis on Screen class. I had to watch 3 Holocaust films in 3 days, and I will say that Toy Story 5 kind of, like, got me back to being like, "Right, movies can make me happy."
Yeah.
But, I also not this most recent Sunday, but the one before, there was a re-release for an anime called Revolutionary Girl Utena. I have no idea what happened in the movie. I was very confused. Really striking images. Like there was a lot I really liked about it, but I also like at one point one of the main characters turns into a car, and I was like,
Oh,
Why are we, how did we get here? Why are we here? Why are we a car? Why is there a race? What's happening? I don't know what's happening."
I
So
love that.
I've been told that it does work better if you have some lore from the actual anime going into it, but I will say that like basically the movie, it was a lot of me just being like, what is happening? And not in like because I said this about Another World where things are shifting, but I'm like, okay, I trust that by the end, I'm gonna understand what's going on. Revolutionary Girl Lieutenant ended, and I am honestly not entirely sure what happened, what it was about. I was very confused. I think I dozed off the tiniest bit in the middle, but also like I don't think I really dozed off enough to miss anything. But there's just things just things just happen. It's very strange. It's very
So
odd.
this was a re-release of a movie?
Yeah, I think it was a 90s anime.
Oh, okay. Very cool.
So I don't know quite where I'm standing on it. I liked it. Like, very visually interesting, but I also was very confused by the story. And then I watched a movie called Aztec Batman. So I'm a big fan of DC, as we've talked about. I have many, many DC animated movies. I have like 15 Batman films. That's not an exaggeration either. I think I have about 15 of them. So got this one. It was during Prime Day, and I've been wanting to watch it. I dug it, which is interesting because a lot of people seem to really kind of hate on it.
Yeah, I was reading the reviews after you had watched it, and yeah, it wasn't as highly rated as you rated it. So I'm curious to see how you felt about it all.
Yeah, I think part of it, first of all, it is meant to be seen in Spanish.
Sure.
And I did not know, because if you just start it, which I did, just start it and I'm watching it, and the opening credits are all in Spanish. And so I was like, oh, this is going to be cool if this is in Spanish. And then the movie starts and it's in English. And I noticed within about 2 minutes, I was like, the lip flapping is not lining up. I think this is supposed to be in Spanish. Went back to the menu, switched to Spanish, English subtitles. Much better experience. Much, much better experience. I will say not everything translates because, it's Batman. And so you start off, you have Hernan Cortez ends up being Two-Face pretty early on. Jaguar, who is this Elseworlds version of Catwoman, slashes his face and he wears like a mask thing for half the time. So I was like, oh, okay, he's Two-Face. But I'm a little embarrassed how long it took me to figure out who Joker was, because there is this character and his name is Yoka. And right before they revealed that it was Joker, I was like, Yoka, oh my gosh, it's Joker. That's who it is. Oh my God. Like, that was when I was like, I don't think the visuals hold up great. That being said, even though the actual like character movement and some of that seemed very flat, I really liked a lot of the designs. Like the design of the bat suit, I was here for it. A lot of people were like, it doesn't even look like the bat suit anymore.
I'm
I'm like,
look
yeah,
some
it's
of
not
it up
supposed to.
just so I can know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
This is a newer
it's relatively
movie.
new. I will say this, it ends on a cliffhanger, and I was expecting, like, Joker and Two-Face are still alive and seem to be doing fine. And there is something, cliffhangery at the end. I don't know if there will be another one, which is a shame because I really dug it. And I know that like a lot of the Latin American WB studios like would like to expand this Elseworld, like would like to expand this sort of Aztec Batman story and mythology, and I honestly would be kind of into it. And I kind of said
his costume is awesome.
Isn't it freaking sweet?
Yeah.
So I really liked a lot of the different designs and some of the character designs. I think Hernan Cortez is boring, and I think they could have done a lot more with him. But I think Yoka, before he turns into the Joker, is really interesting. I really like, this Aztec Batman. I mean, I kind of said this in my review. Like, the title is Aztec Batman. Like, I knew what I was walking into.
Yeah,
I knew what I wanted. And so, like, yeah, sure, I could poo-poo on it. Like, again, not every comic aspect translates well, but I don't know. Like, it's a fun revenge story. It's a bit goofy. It's pretty fun. But I will say, like, I think someone's experience would improve at least by half a star, if not a full star, by watching it in Spanish. Just to be fair.
That's great.
And then I did watch a couple more things, but those kind of go into LGBTQ plus films, and I don't want to completely hijack this podcast episode.
No, you're good. Like I said, I haven't watched many in a long time with moving and everything.
You've been moving.
And we've chatted a lot about a lot of the LGBTQ plus movies that I've really loved and really liked over time.
I mean, you mentioned Love, Simon earlier today.
I did, yeah. That was one that we watched a couple of years ago, and for whatever reason, it just like I think the message for me as a straight person was just like how being a bystander or like passive to things going on around you can in some ways be like just as harmful. Obviously, direct bullying is always going to be more harmful, but I just thought about some times where I could have been better, and had some discussions with some people I knew from high school, and having lived that experience and being kind of sharing that sentiment of like, yeah, honestly, I did expect more people to stick up for me, or I did expect more allies. And so I'm not that old. High school was not that long ago, 10 plus 12, 13 years ago. And so for one of my peers to have that experience,
Mm,
talking with you as well, I'm sure you can relate in some ways, but
yeah.
someone that was openly gay in Bountiful, Utah, Centerville, Utah, faced a lot of bullying and a lot of criticism growing up. And I'm ashamed to say that I didn't do more to step up. And that's not what this movie is about. Again, it's just what I reminded me about this.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great tool and power that movies can have. So, like, this movie, is it a great filmmaking movie? Probably not. But, like, is it a great sort of representation of a lived experience? Yeah, definitely. Like, it reminded
Mm,
me of a real person and a real experience that they lived, and made me reflect and vow to be a better person, to help people more in it because of it. So, in that way, I think that's why we have Pride Month. That's why we should seek those things
yeah.
out. And even beyond Pride Month, of just understanding more people's stories. That's what movies become so powerful, is you can put people in, you can learn and understand people's situations more than what you've lived yourself, and just open your heart to being more kind and more inclusive and helping people that are different than you.
I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah, so I don't know. Basically what I did is I compiled I bought a book that's basically just like 100 LGBTQ plus films all the way from I think like 1919 was the earliest one. It
Oh, wow.
skipped a couple that I think are kind of essential, but basically I'm going to talk about a couple movies that I watched, as well as I'm just going to kind of put more of I have kind of a list that's like your almost like the essential classic, like iconic queer
Right.
films that if this is something you want to get into, here's a good place to start. And then I said I would watch a John Waters film. I did. I initially was going to watch Female Trouble, but then I saw that it was NC-17. I have not watched an NC-17 movie yet and decided I wasn't brave enough, so I went the completely other direction. And John Waters' only PG-rated movie, Hairspray.
Sure.
So this is the movie, came out in 1988. It's what the musical is based off of. It is a whole lot of fun. It's not quite as like aggressive with its like bubblegum aesthetic the way the musical that came out in like, I don't know, 9 maybe
Okay.
is. No,
Interesting.
before '09. But yeah, it's still got that kind of, poppy 60s. It's the general story is still all there. You do have drag queen Divine, who has worked on a lot of John Waters projects, playing Tracy's mom, and that's kind of where, in the musical it's played by John Travolta, and so that's where that started. Is it's always a male who plays Tracy's mom. That's where. So just kind of a piece of like drag queen / trans history. But yeah, it's an hour and a half. It is short. It is quick. It is a fun, frothy little romp. I had a lot of fun with it. It also is like very like the musical. It is very, I don't want to say aggressive, but very blatant in like its political
Sure.
commentary, regarding integration.
Right.
But
I've always
so
been
yeah,
curious about that one. I'm glad you were able to catch that.
yeah, would definitely recommend it. I think it also just very recently came out on the Criterion Collection.
Oh, okay, very cool.
But then, so again, I'm just going to run through these real quick. This is what I would consider some essential viewing if you want to dive
Yeah,
into LGBTQ plus cinema. Bride of Frankenstein. There is a lot of commentary. The scientist, not Dr. Frankenstein, but the other one, the one who approaches him and says, "Hey, we should make we should make the bride of the monster." Lots of speculation that character is very queer coded.
hmm,
So, Bride of Frankenstein, I would definitely say that's one that fairly tame one that you could watch. It's a good introduction to the genre. This one's a little racier, so I understand if some people might not watch this, but the Rocky Horror Picture Show,
Sure.
that is iconic. It's not one that I've actually seen all the way through. Some of these I haven't. Most of these I have. But yeah, Rocky Horror Picture Show is kind of that iconic. It's a cult classic now. There it is. This one I haven't seen, but I've been wanting to for a while. It's also in the Criterion Collection. It's called Desert Hearts. It's a
Okay.
lesbian love story that I think came out in the 80s or 90s.
Okay. I haven't heard of that one.
This movie, also directed by Ang Lee, and it's a screwball comedy. It's called Wedding Banquet. The premise is this young Asian American man who has a boyfriend needs to happen where he ends up telling his family that he's getting married to this girl that he's friends with. Comedy of errors, the family shows up to do this proper ceremony and everything, and it doesn't work out. But Ang Lee, who also did Brokeback Mountain, there was also
And the
a
Hulk.
remake of, well, there it is.
Sure.
They also did a remake of Wedding Banquet that features a gay couple and a lesbian couple. It came out last year. I didn't love it, but I thought it was cute and fine. It has honestly some names. There's some, I can't remember the people off the top of my head, but the one who was nominated for an Oscar in Killers of the Flower Moon, she's in it.
Why am I not remembering her name?
I did not prepare.
Their name. Lily Gladstone.
There we go. I was like, I did not prepare good enough for
they're
notes
great.
I just
I
wrote
really
down
like Lily Gladstone.
Is Lily non-binary?
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that. That's very cool. Anyway, so if you want to watch the remake, it's decently fun. And then I put Bound, also Criterion Collection. This is the first film of the Wachowski sisters who went on to make The Matrix. But Bound is sort of this gangster neo-noir lesbian film that I think is just super, super fun. So I would say if you like The Matrix, if that kind of thing is up your alley, Bound is super, super good time. This is another one, but I'm a cheerleader.
I've heard a lot of this one, yeah.
I've seen it. It wasn't one that I, loved. It was not super near and dear to my heart, but it is one of those that I am like, this gave a lot of hope and comfort to, scared gay kids, and I'm not gonna poo-poo on that. So as far as the film, I liked it. I was like, yeah, that's fine.
Much
but
more
I really
lighthearted, right?
Yes, definitely much more of a comedy. It pokes a lot of fun at the idea of conversion camps and conversion therapy.
Okay.
Mulholland Drive, we've talked about on the podcast. This is also one I have not seen, but really should get around to. Hedwig and the Angry Inch.
Okay. Not Earwig and the Witch?
No. You stop that right now.
Sorry.
And then, besides the ones we've already talked about, I've mentioned Handmaiden on the show, or on the podcast, and then Brokeback Mountain and Moonlight, and then Portrait of a Lady on Fire to round it out.
Very cool, very cool. Great list of what I've seen, and I'm interested in the ones I haven't.
Yeah, same. So, I mean, I'm excited to watch more John Waters movies, too. He has many that are in the Criterion Collection. And now that I've seen Hairspray, again, it is kind of his tamest one, which is why I was like, let's start there. But I think it's a lot of fun. So anyway, I know we want to do a little bit more, and we will probably next year, but just with how crazy things have been, I was just like, well, let me at least get, a list of 5 to 10 kind of essential viewing for Pride Month. I think any of those you could watch and have a good time.
Yeah, that's great.
But anyway, we talked about June. Do you have anything you want to add to June?
No. Yeah, it's, like I said, an interesting one. Disclosure Day did fine at the box office. Toy Story set records.
Of course it did.
Yeah, I think Supergirl did 38 million domestic in their first weekend, which is horrible.
Yeah, Supergirl did not.
And again, I'm regurgitating from another podcast, but I think the sentiment there was like, Supergirl just deserved better. They just...
everyone I've seen has also said, like, Millie Alcock is really good.
Yeah, I've heard that too, that that's not the issue. It's just the source material is also really well, like, loved and liked. You've
Yes,
read it,
Woman of
right?
Tomorrow is amazing.
Yeah, like
Yes.
amazing color palette, amazing story, and they cheapen a lot of the story points in that, and the
Yeah.
colors aren't good, and it's just
Yeah.
a lot of bad decisions in it. And it is kind of this interesting to think about of like this new DC and how James Gunn is, making all the decisions, final say. But at the same time, it's like, oh, well, Superman gets James Gunn and his full effort and his full,
Mm,
attention and resources. So it's like, did they intentionally, do less of an effort for Supergirl is just something that makes you I'm not saying that's the case regardless, but it does seem like there was enough there in the source material and
there
in Millie
really is.
Alcock that it's like there's just something was missing and it's just disappointing that they didn't connect
Yeah.
the pieces. So I was looking
I
forward to that like you, but it just yeah.
I keep going back and forth because part of me is like, do I wanna go see this if it's just gonna make me sad? But I also, I mean, I am a DC diehard, and so, like, I will probably go see this thing sooner rather than later because it probably won't stay in theaters as long as I would like it to. But
Right.
I mean, it's Supergirl. I love Woman of Tomorrow. Again, I am a, DC until I die. So, yeah, I mean, I'm probably gonna go see it and I will report back. But unfortunately, that is kind of the thing I'm hearing is that it's just Supergirl deserved better. Millie Alcock deserved a better movie. And it is what it is.
Right. Well, let's get into July. There are
Yes.
two major releases in July that are, I think, essentially review proof as far as people going to go see it. Now,
Yeah.
one of them might not get good reviews, but I almost think reviewers, this sounds silly, but I think in some ways there's an intimidation factor for the Odyssey coming out in 2 weeks
Oh,
of
for
like,
sure. For
so many
sure.
people are gonna like it just based on the spectacle of it all that
Mhm.
like to go against the grain I think will be more challenging as a reviewer. Not to say that people won't do that. Regardless though, the Odyssey and Spider-Man are going to make a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I'm very optimistic. I am very excited for the Odyssey.
I'm so stoked for the Odyssey.
I've been like turning my brain off whenever I've seen a preview just to like go in fresh. But I feel like recently I've been more aware as previews have been happening. And I'm like, man, this looks really good.
Looks so good. It's
Yeah,
so I've said before, I'm in this super weird space where like this is the most excited I've been about a Nolan film since probably like Dark Knight Rises. Like I am
sure.
so stupid excited about this thing and like I am the most excited person out of like all my friends and which is just baffling to me because I remember with Oppenheimer everyone was like Oppenheimer and I was like Oppenheimer who cares whatever. And I just feel like it's just funny that this is like the first time in forever I'm super excited about Nolan and I don't know.
Yeah.
People
So I do
are
have
people
to,
are grumpy cuz they say Nolan's gone woke. There are some people who are just like it look it, I don't know. It'll be interesting. I'm super stoked. I just think it's interesting that the one time I'm really excited about Nolan is when the internet has decided that they want to be mad about it.
yeah, I don't know. I think there's niche pockets that are mad and like you said, the woke crowd or whatever, but I think in general, people are going to flock to go see this. Speaking of, it is very likely that I'm going to see this a week late. Just FYI. Part of it is because I'm
Oh,
going to see it in 70 millimeter, hopefully.
okay.
So just a heads up there. Before we get to Spider-Man, at some point, Olivia Wilde's The Invite is supposed to release this month. It's released in
Oh,
like New
that's
York and
right.
LA, so it's supposed to go wide
Yeah.
soon. Seth Rogen, Olivia Wilde, Penelope Cruz, and Edward Norton, and really, really well reviewed. People say this is a really, really good adult comedy. just firing at all cylinders. Olivia Wilde, Seth Rogen. I really loved what Seth Rogen has been doing recently. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty excited about this movie. Not sure exactly when it gets a wide release, but whenever it does, I'll be there.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple other ones that are coming out. Minions will be out by the time Minions and Monsters will be out by the time this podcast goes live
Okay.
because it comes out on July 1st.
Now, anyone that's listened to this podcast would probably assume where we feel on that. I've heard it's really good.
The thing is, maybe it's just because I've become numb to it. I have seen so many stupid trailers for this thing that at the beginning I was like, this is dumb. This looks so dumb. The more trailers I see, the more I'm like, is this gonna actually be kind of good? So
Right.
yeah, I'm curious. I feel like the Minions IP has been beaten to death, and I'm a little over it. But also, like, if we get a good movie, then we get a good movie, and I'll be happy with that.
Yeah, my understanding is it's a lot of like Hollywood callbacks that it's like them like
That's
sneaking their way through
cool.
Hollywood or something. So that's why it's getting like reasonable critic reviews.
Interesting.
So yeah, I've heard a lot of critics really love it for that reason. So yeah, I'm interested. Also,
I was gonna say that might be something I'm into.
always check out Ghibli Fest every year.
Yes.
So My Neighbor Totoro is releasing in July. So
Mm-hmm.
check that out. Did you already
It
have that
really
one
is
down?
only well, it's only English, so I didn't write it down because they were re-releases. And then the only other IPs before we get into Spider-Man that I have, the live-action Moana is coming out, which just looks like hot garbage.
I hope that flops really badly.
We shall see. I don't know.
It
Yeah,
won't,
I
but I
don't.
hope it
I don't.
does.
Well, I don't know because Snow White did real bad. Snow
Yeah.
White did real bad,
I
but
mean,
then Lilo
like
and
I
Stitch did real
support
good.
culturally and, young actors, actresses, I support them and very happy for them, but this is just like, I don't know, feels like the most unnecessary thing possible. It just
Oh,
feels
it does.
out of place and
Moana came out
makes
10
me,
years
yeah,
ago.
yeah.
Like,
So
Moana
weird.
did not. Anyway. And then this isn't an IP that I am into, but Evil Dead Burn also comes out
Oh, sure. Yeah.
in July. But yeah, do we want to talk about Spider-Man a little bit?
Yeah, allegedly, and I've been hearing this forever, this is like a quote unquote street level Spider-Man. That's what
Right.
they're marketing it as. So like trying to contain it to Spider-Man doing Spider-Man things instead of Spider-Man doing multiverse
Avengers
and
things.
Avengers things,
Right.
which I think is the right move. But do I
Agreed.
trust them that they're doing that for real?
Mm,
No.
okay.
So, yeah.
Because I feel like there have been so many Spider-Mans where it stops once Spider-Man leaves high school. And in the comics, college Spider-Man, like college Peter Parker, I would say that's probably where all of my favorite arcs are.
Okay.
So I'm definitely curious. I still need to see No Way Home or whatever the last one was. But yeah, I mean, it's your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. That's the whole point. And like this version of Spider-Man, especially, I mean, with the very first one with Homecoming, it never was friendly neighborhood. It was always Spider-Man who's friends with Tony Stark.
Right. Right. So yeah,
So
I do like Tom Holland. I like Zendaya. Like I
I do
think
too.
they're a fun Spider-Man duo. But again, like I said, I do I trust them? No. But
Yeah.
I think it could be fine.
Because I am a little curious if there is going to be any setup for Doomsday.
Oh, they have to.
That's the thing is I'm like, I think if it's just its own standalone Spider-Man, again, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, I think I'm into it. But I feel
This
like they're going to do too many nods to Doomsday. I don't trust them to contain it to Street Spider-Man. It's going to be universe, multiverse, multidimensional Spider-Man nonsense because of what Doomsday is doing.
Yeah, from a train wreck perspective, like you just can't take your eyes away. I am so fascinated by what they're gonna cook up with Doomsday. But from like
Facts.
a state of the world and like movies, dreading it. But again, I'm just like, what could they possibly do? Like it's just so it's gonna be so yeah, just so
Every
interesting.
time I saw, because this happened at the beginning of Avatar, I told you about this. Every time I saw
Right.
something where it was like, so and so will show up in Doomsday, I just wanted to be like, screw you!
Sure.
How dare you? Like, what?
Yeah. No, so it's we'll see. We'll see if Spider-Man can live up to the friendly neighborhoodness of it, but I'll believe it when I see
Yeah.
it.
So I don't know. That, like I said, that's kind of shorter episode today, just because I'm like, June hasn't been terribly exciting, and July doesn't seem like I'm so stoked for Odyssey.
Yeah.
And that's like, I think that's why I say I'm disappointed, is because I'm like, I don't want to undersell Odyssey because I am so freaking excited for it.
Right.
But I also, just because, like, one awesome movie doesn't save the summer for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll see how awesome it really is, and maybe it will change our lives.
Maybe it will. Maybe I will.
Maybe you'll see it like 5 times, and so it's like it's multiple movies.
There we go. Well, and like I said, this was like a month ago. I had my fun little, like, even though they didn't come out this year, watching Top Gun Maverick and Godzilla Minus One, I was like, this feels like summer blockbuster season.
Right.
This feels like a fun time. So we'll see. I don't know. Because of the disappointing theater experiences, the Criterion sale started, so I've just sort of been geeking out about,
Yeah,
I've
that's
already
great.
bought 2, and yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
But I don't know if you have an answer for this because we haven't talked about it because we've both been crazy. But Adam, what are we watching?
I have no idea, so we'll talk
Yeah.
about it. We'll let the people know. But as always, we appreciate anyone that listens, interacts with us, gives us
Yeah.
suggestions, anything of the like. Very appreciative. Share with a friend, 5 stars, like whatever, you know the drill. And until next time.
Catch you later.